Hey there, this is Christopher Smith, otherwise known as the President of the World. You are listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. Presidential Power!
And welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 rated podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, coming at you with another phenomenal podcast. Now, I know we've just been knocking them out apart lately. We've been just coming at you left and right. You're like, oh, I don't know who's going to have next. And yeah, people, it's that it factor, that surprise factor of this podcast, which I really love. And today I have the true honor, and I say true honor in every sense of the word, because I have the true honor of interviewing the one, the only Chris T. This man, Chris Tatarian, is just, if you know your FGC lore, you know, if you follow his career, man, this guy has done some truly amazing things, like, you know, at Never Give Up and the Game Over tournaments. You know, he came in at first place at Capcom Cup 2018. He placed 9th, and so many other tournaments he's just been placing. He's a professional Street Fighter player. He's also one of the hosts of the Gauntlet Cast, which is one of the amazing, most premier FGC and nerd culture type of podcasts out there. So if you guys want, and I highly recommend that you do, you go over and you check out the Gauntlet Cast. Link will be down in the description below. And with that being said, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Let's go ahead and welcome FGC sensation and legend Chris T onto the show. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, #1 podcast in state of Hawaii, the Kasanova Podcast. See, we're going back with the Kasanova Podcast. We were going to do the other, but my man Chris here, the one and only Chris Tatarian, we were talking about it, and hey, it rolls off the tongue better. Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell people why you are one of the most amazing FGC players in the world. Talk to him.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Chris Tatarian, otherwise known as Chris T. I'm right now, this is my first time on this podcast. I want to thank Mekel for having me on. And yeah, the Kasanova Podcast, to me it sounds a lot better. I like the way it rolls off the tongue. But just want to thank you guys for listening in, and hopefully you guys get to know me a little bit better, and let's make a good podcast out of this episode.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man.
Let's make a good episode out of this podcast. Already fucking
All right, man. And go ahead and give us a brief background on yourself, man. I know you're a podcaster as well. Like, you've got the Gauntlet Cast, man. Let's talk about it.
Right. So, speaking about the Gauntlet. It was a podcast that we started. It's myself, Brent. People know him as Brent is Cool, and Elvis. And we've known each other for over 10 years now. So Elvis and Brent have known each other longer. But yeah, we just decided one day, let's just make a podcast. You know, it's not necessarily just an FGC podcast. We do talk about Street Fighter and other fighting games and whatnot, just because it is part of our lives. But we talk about everything. You know, I'm a very big advocate of just expressing myself. Expressing yourself. So I try to speak about every topic that kind of interests me, or the things that I went through during that week before the next episode. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we just sit down, chill, we just talk to each other, and it, you know, it flows. So we like that.
So basically you're covering like not only the FGC stuff, but you're covering like nerd culture too. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah, I find it very therapeutic. You know, I find it very, very therapeutic, because if we just only talk about Street Fighter, it feels more like a job, you know,
Yeah.
because I want to use that platform of having a podcast in order to explain to people that have questions about Street Fighter. They want to. A lot of times when I was younger, and even now when I want to speak to a top player, I have many questions that I want to ask them, and texting is not enough. A
Yeah.
text form is just not enough sometimes to fully express an idea or a theory, et cetera, et cetera. So I found the podcast to be a very helpful way for people to learn about Street Fighter, fighting game mentality, what it's like to be a top player, things that a top player goes through. Just a lot of questions like that. And we've gotten very big positive responses from that. And I love that. And that's just like a part of the show that's always going to be there just because it's such a big part of my life. But I'm also really heavily loving the fact that I can just talk about my experiences and everything else, and people seem to like those as well. Same with Brent and Elvis too.
Man, I like the fact that you said like it's therapeutic doing the podcast, because I feel the same way. Like, you know, I work at a hospital as an analyst, and I'm working 60, 70 hours or so a week on top of trying to do this, on top of trying to like review games for Square and Capcom and whatnot. But it's like when I get in front of the microphone, it's just something about it, man. It
feels nice.
It does. But it is nothing like it either. Like it's like you're saying, when it comes to trying to express the idea, like if you were to try to go to Twitter, you're limited to, what is it, like 100 and
240 now. They increased it to 240
without the edit button.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just that limit of expression that frustrates me. When you can get in front of the microphone, or you can put out a video, you get to express your idea, and people can take it however they want to take it. But you know, it's refreshing, man. I thank you for saying that, because we're vibing right there with that.
No, absolutely. Well, it's nice that you can relate to the therapeutic part of just expressing yourself in a deeper layer, because you know, if you think about it, how you just mentioned that Twitter has a very limited amount of characters, right? Yeah. Well, not just Twitter. Think about all types of social media, and then you want to expand that even further in terms of conversation that's held between people. Our conversations, I feel like, unless you're in a debate or something like that, are very short, very 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 limited. I feel like I don't have as many deep conversations even in person anymore as much as I used to kind of before, if that makes any sense. Like the fact that social media has grown so much, it's kind of transformed the way that we communicate between humans, even in real life.
Yeah.
You know, where it just seems much shorter now. And I really like the fact that a podcast can allow me to just talk and just let it out, let it all out.
I mean, are you, and this is kind of a personal belief that I have, I feel like social media has, in a way, caused a lot of people to lose a lot of their social skills, kind of like an unsocial media.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The most ironic part about social media is that it somehow makes people less social.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's kind of crazy. I had a very trippy experience when I was in Tokyo. And I'm walking around, man, and it's crazy enough that, like, you know, you feel like you're the foreigner in this country, you know, and everybody is just, but you're walking around and everybody's just on their phone. Everybody is just on their phone, man. It's crazy to see so many people walking in straight lines, but just like on their phones. It just looks very, very, very robotic, very creepy, like weird feeling about that. And then, you know, it just kind of opened my eyes to how addicted we really are to these cell phones. And dude, I say this, even with the awareness that I have of the addiction, I still am addicted to it. And I still catch myself unable to break the bad habits of being on my phone or anything. But yeah, man, social media for sure has that aspect of making people less social.
Yeah. I forgot what it was. I was watching something where they did a study that when people are on social media, they're looking for that validation, that false validation, and basically it kicks off like an endorphin in them.
Yep.
It's
Yeah. I think I saw the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely addicting, man. Like I catch it, and you know, I tell my family and whatnot, like, hey, sometimes just put the social media down. Like even for me, like I'm constantly on it, but then I'll have to take some time where I'm like, yo, enough. Like enough for the internet for the night, because it can be. Sometimes I feel like people spend more time on social media than they even do taking care of themselves, for one, trying to get in the gym, trying to be healthy, or anything, like trying to achieve their goals. No, I'm just gonna go on here and troll somebody, or I'm gonna
absolutely
follow, or
dude, absolutely
someone else.
like forget the Street Fighter talk. This is what I like talking about even more, man. No, straight up. This has a lot to do with my direction of thinking, my mentality currently. How you mentioned that it kicks in that endorphins, that dopamine when they get the validation, and that validation is that one thumb, you know,
right?
That one like, that one heart, and it happens to me too. I see it happen to myself, but see, I have enough self-love to not need that validation. I just like it as a you know, it's just innately embedded in me now, which is crazy. I don't want to say innately. I think innately is like from birth, but I want to. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but what I'm saying is that like, the people that rely on it, that's where the problem is, right? Where your only sense of love, your only sense of attention is through social media. That's dangerous, man. That's how you get a lot of people that develop the hatred. That's how you get a lot of people that start quoting people's tweets and say something snarky just so they can just because they know that they're about to get 300 likes and 4,000 retweets and shit, you know? Just like that quote tweet has like a weird ominous, like, you know what it is when somebody quotes your tweet and is saying something. It's very like, it's like a snarky remark. And then if it's a mob mentality type of remark, then you already know they're about to build 7 billion likes on it, and they're just gonna jerk off to it. That's just the way that it is. I mean, you know, that's just the way that it is.
Like when you look at it, man, social media is definitely pushing towards like tribalism. Like just it's
100%.
It's reverting people back, and it's like you look at some of the things that are going on. Like I think we're roughly around the same age. Like I feel like when we were coming up, we didn't really have it as readily available. Like you had stuff, but it wasn't like it is now. Like the generations coming up now, like their parents are giving them iPads when they're like 2 or 3 years old, and then exposing them to it. And it's like this instant, everything's right there. It's like, it doesn't teach them how to have interpersonal relationships. It doesn't teach these people how to deal with confrontation or conflict. They just basically, they'll take whatever's thrown at them, and it's like, no, I don't like what you said. You offended my safe space, my bubble.
Yeah. How do you like offend somebody's safe space if they just have to turn off their phone? You know, like
right?
Like Tyler, the Creator, he said it the best, man. Just like cyberbullying doesn't exist. Just turn off your phone, dude. Just walk away from your phone. That's it. That is literally it. But you see, now we're getting into deeper shit where it's the feeling of what is it? The victimization, feeling victimized. That seems to be a very popular trend that is happening in today's world that really baffles my mind. Why would you want to be the victim?
Exactly.
When does somebody ever want to be the victim? Like you're so offended by everything. How does it feel to just be a victim all the time? Like, I would hate to be victimized all the time. You got to build some thick skin or something, man. The world is a very, very tough and hard place. And it's crazy that in this time in 2018, we live in the safest time the world has ever seen. Yet people are so quick to just be hurt, you know?
Yeah.
People are very quick to be hurt in the safest time of the world. So I don't know. I think, you know, it has a big part to do with the fact that we are the first generation to get hit with the internet ever in the history of Earth, in the history of mankind. So we're just the guinea pigs for what the internet is. And I'm 23 years old. I don't know how old you are, but how old are you, by the way?
I'm 30. I thought we were around the same age.
We're similar. I mean, close enough, close enough at least. But the thing is that our brains are shaped from like an old generation's mentality, I think, like the previous generation's mentality. Somewhat, there is some of that within us, just because of our parents. I'm sure your ass got whooped when you were younger.
Hell
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? It's just that victimized feeling. And then that goes into deeper layers, such as, man, we're talking right now. We're talking.
Right.
But I'm glad that you have these thoughts, because these are things that we talk about on the Gauntlet as well. So I'm glad that I'm able to express those on this podcast too right now. I guess to finish that topic of the victimization, it has to do with with what something that's like crazy popular in this world is the availability for somebody to get famous, the quickness of how somebody can get famous, and how easy it is for other people in the world to see somebody get famous so quickly and so easily. And this also results in the likes and whatnot. But when you see so many people that are famous and all of that, it makes you start questioning, like, man, like, what's wrong with my life? Like, why is my life, and why don't nobody like me? Why can't I be famous? Why can't people follow me or something like that? And that just builds resentment and hatred and the need for more likes, which creates the need for more quoted tweets, which creates the need for being on social media more, which creates the increase of less social skills, which creates the you know what I'm saying? It's insanity, bro. It's actual insanity.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, it depends on how deep we want to go down the rabbit hole on this.
Bro, we might need to stop at some point, but you gotta at least put in some of your thoughts on that as well. I'm curious.
Like, I look at it like this. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, The Matrix was that was a great movie. I look at The Matrix in this, not saying that we're tethered to some machine that's creating this false illusion, but in the sense of, we have become, as a species, so addicted to this little thing and social media, to the point where you have people that literally cannot tell fantasy from reality, because they think whatever they see on this little screen is their reality. Like, in the whole process of being a victim, like, I hate it. It's like, yo, can you at some point take some accountability for yourself, your actions, what you can do to better yourself? Oh, I'm offended by this. Why does this offend you? Oh, I don't know. I'm just offended. Stop with, like, I used to tell.
Because you're a loser. That's why you're offended, because you're a loser and you don't do shit with your life.
Right.
And that's sad. And that's just the God honest truth, but that's just sad. Keep going. Keep going.
No, man, I used to tell people all the time when they're like, yo, this pissed me off, or that triggered me. And I'm like, yo, why are you letting something so insignificant trigger you? First off, know yourself. What is it that's about this situation that you don't like? Maybe it's a reflection of yourself. Maybe it's a lesson to teach you something you need to know to better you. But a lot of people, this current society, the level of vanity is just, it's insane, man.
Yeah.
Like, trying to find people like you or like, other people I know where I can just have real conversations like this is fucking rare. I run into people all the time where it's like high and by. It's so surface level, shallow bullshit that I can't even talk to them, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I think that's one of the things that with social media is gotten really out of hand, and I think it's only going to get worse. You have people that before, like, if you look at it back in the day before social media, people would try to live through the Hollywood actors or their favorite singers. Now it's, oh, I can follow them in every little thing that they do, that affects me. Like whatever I see on TMZ or Keemstar or World Star Hip Hop, no, that's part of my life, and I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? How is that part of you?
Well, I mean, like you said, how the people can just follow their favorite actress, whatever, and I can use myself as an example. I'm literally notoriously known in the FGC as the guy with the crazy Twitter, the guy who just speaks crazy shit on Twitter, And I have a lot of like people that just follow me just so they can see me tweet something and then blow it up to God knows what proportion, bro. I've had people call me transphobic, sexist, women hater, fucking everything in the book, bro. I've had people mention that I'm a threat. I'm more of a threat than gun violence. Bro,
Yo,
that's
I
actually
saw that. That was some bullshit. Like,
that's
what
crazy, bro. That's like people are actually crazy. It's insane. But that's what kind of made me even more involved with me posting whatever the fuck I want on my Twitter, because it's the last like sanity that I have in terms of I need to remain true to myself. I'm not going to conform. I do not want to turn into the zombie that you are and you are and you are and you are. I'm not going to post the shit that everybody is posting, that every top player posts, I'm just using top player FCC as like a small example, but I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm going to keep it 110% with you always, because I always have the thought of like death in my mind, which is trippy. But I always feel like if I randomly die, I at least want some sort of evidence or something that showed that I at least stayed true to myself, and that I know for a fact that the thoughts that I have and the things that I write down and the things that I've posted, there are other people in the world who are like too afraid to say those things, but are like, dude, at least I'm not fucking alone, that this guy is out there that thinks like I do. And I do this because of a very recent discovery of somebody called Jordan Peterson that I found.
And that out here in Hawaii.
Dude, that guy is a genius, man. He just says everything that society hates, and it's but the core of it is truth. The core of it is love. The core of it is beneficial for our lives, the messages. And so it was the moment where I realized, holy fuck, man, this guy Jordan Peterson, like he thinks like I do, or I think like he does, and I'm glad that there's somebody that's out there that's saying it. I don't feel alone anymore, because I felt so alone, and come to know that there's thousands of people that are followers of him, and that just makes me feel better. So I want to use my platform to not only express myself, but to kind of help somebody that so alienated and alone by society, that I can take all the hate that society can throw at me, and there's been a lot of it, and just accept it and just be like, fuck all of you, your thoughts mean nothing to me,
But you know what it is, though, the biggest thing of why you're facing the opposition, and myself as well, I go through it constantly, is because we're not conforming to the societal norms. Like there's this push now to remove individuality. They want this whole narrative of uniformity across, like that's where you got the conversations like, oh, there's no difference between men and women. Which is the
dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. There's a clear biological difference between men and women. That's just insanity. That's just pure insanity.
Yeah. And it's on top of the insanity, it's normalizing the insanity. And there's so much of it, man.
Do not normalize mental illness. Do not don't like feed into somebody's, like, you don't want to, you want to help somebody who's going through an illness or something like that. You don't want to, if I thought that I could fly, you wouldn't be like, yeah, Chris, you can fly. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to jump off this building and just fucking flap my wings. You wouldn't say that to me, because that's harmful to me. Thinking like that is harmful. It is so harmful. It hurts. It just hurts. It just goes layers and layers into pain.
Yeah, man.
But it's like, but the crazy part is that here's the ironic part is that we're the ones in pain because we recognize, because we are aware, but the ignorant is in bliss land because they don't recognize. So who's really the one in pain? The one, the aware one, or Twilight Zone, baby.
Yeah, but I mean, for real, when you come to this point where you get that self-awareness, it's like you feel like you're walking around in a land full of zombies, man. This is like, kind of like one of the conversations I was having with the voice of Bison, Gerald Rivers. Like, we were having deep talks like this. He's like, yeah, I could talk about Bison. I like talking about this because it's like there's so few of us, and we feel like, is it me?
Is it me? Is it me? Because there's no way. It breaks down the logic too. I had to look into philosophy and logic and reason and all of that just so I could understand that my thinking is not rooted in hatred and it's not rooted in evil. We're spreading the good message. We're spreading the positive message on how you can turn your life around and become a better human being. But there's just a lot of people who are unwilling to face the truths about the mistakes of their lives and shit,
I mean, I know, like, for me, like, growing up, because I'm from Western Samoa, and growing up, how traditional things are there, people don't question it. And then, when I moved, 'cause my dad is, he was military. So we moved to Memphis, and I saw a lot of people there in Memphis with the victim mentality, with the autonomous, just going with things, not questioning anything. Like, oh, I'm born here, I'm going to be here for all of my life, I'll never change my situation. It's like, yo, why? And then coming out here to Hawaii, and, I'm probably going to piss off a lot of my Hawaii audience by saying this. I don't really care. I got broad shoulders. But, a lot of people out here in Hawaii says, oh, it's so hard to live out here. It's so expensive. It's so this. I'm like, yo, I've lived here. I've lived in Washington State. I've lived in New York. I lived in Cali. Like, I have been places where it's hard to live, and I started with nothing. And it's a choice you make. It's an active choice. Do you want to succeed? Do you sink? Do you swim?
Yeah,
it's one of the two. And people
gotta adapt.
You gotta
adapt. You gotta adapt. No matter where you go, you want to survive. You don't want to be weak.
Exactly.
You want to survive and be strong. You don't want to be weak in your life. There's no point. There's just no point. And dude, it's crazy that you said that. I want to go to Hawaii so bad, bro. So bad. I'm very big on meditation. I'm huge. I love reggae. I love vibes, bro. I'm ready for Hawaii. I would lose my soul in Hawaii. I'm down for it. I'm so down for Hawaii. Just one day. I just need to go there one day and just trip the fuck out.
Yo, whenever you come out here, like, I got another spot in Waikiki. I got another, because my wife and I, we own a condo in Waikiki, and then we got a condo right here, right outside of Waikiki. You come out here, let me know. I got you.
Bro, do you see why? Do you see why I stick with the FGC? Because see, the FGC turned more into this than it did of the game itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It turned into me traveling and making families everywhere that I go, and just everywhere, all across the world, and meeting people, having a place to stay and whatever, experiencing the culture, than it did for the game itself. Plus, it helps with the ladies too, because they hear that you're a professional gamer. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool, but they're like, yeah, but have you, check out these photos of Tokyo. Check out, this was when I was in London, dude. This was, you know what I'm saying? So that helps. That definitely helps. But yeah, bro, I thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, and I promise one day it will happen. It definitely will happen.
So let me know, man. It's nice. It overlooks basically all of Waikiki. It's right next to the mall. We got a massive mall in Waikiki. It's right there. Right down the street from that, all the food places. The beach is like 2-3 minutes away. It's
aloha. I'm with it.
For real.
Let's go.
But yo, like, is one of the things like I wanted to say to touch on this topic. Like one of the things you were saying earlier, like how you're thinking about death constantly, and like how you want to not be afraid to say what you're saying. Say whatever you want. And I've been there because, like, I'm now, as of now, I'm 3 years cancer free. I had colorectal cancer, like stage 2, man. It was dire. I had doctors saying that I wasn't gonna make it. And like ever since, and maybe it's just because I'm hard headed. I don't know if it's Dominican or the Samoan side or Hawaiian side of me. I don't know.
You're Dominican too?
Yes, sir.
Dímelo. Get okay. Get okay.
But yeah, man, like I just wouldn't give up. And when I beat it against the odds, like coming out of that 3 years ago, I said, fuck all this nonsense.
Yeah,
I'm gonna live life to the fullest. Like, oh, I want to work in IT. I don't have search for it. I'm gonna make it happen. Oh, I want to travel here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't care about the details. I just set the intention and go for it, man. Like,
bro, congratulations, man. I pray that God blesses you with many more years of life, bro. That's amazing news to hear, man. That is amazing news to hear.
Thank you, man. Thank you. God's been good to me and my family, man. And that's one of the things too. I know, you're a believer in God, you're a brother in Christ, man. Like, that's how is that for you?
I'd be lying if I said that it was all peaches and gravy, because it's not. I've found that life became harder when I started believing in Christ. And as a believer, I believe that is the devil getting to me, I believe that, because here's the thing, like the devil's not going to go after people that are already non-believers, or that are already fallen. I could just say it like that. And that's not to disrespect anybody. Please don't take it that way. But I feel that as a believer, he has a job to do to get me on the dark side, He has to work extra hard to fuck up my life or something like that. But I find it the whole experience itself, the most beautiful experience I could have ever experienced on this life, if that makes any sense. Like this all happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. And there's just been too many times where I've just been on that rock bottom and I've needed God, and he's came through for me, And then there's also times where, here's the crazy part. I find a very weird trend is that it's like, okay, I believe in God. I believe in God. Everything, my faith is strong. Everything's peachy. And then it's suddenly, like, very unknowingly, but slightly starts getting down a bit because I get distracted. I get less Bible readings, less church, less this. My prayers are a little shorter now, and I don't give as much time anymore. And it just slowly gets on that downward slope. And then all of a sudden, there's just more stress. There's more worry in my life. There's more fear, more insecurity, more problems. I'm noticing things. I'm not breathing properly anymore. I don't meditate as much anymore. There's some problems. And then bam, you hit rock bottom and you're just like, God, like, please, like, where I need you again. I'm sorry. Like, I messed up. Like, I need you. And then good things happen. And then you're like, all right, I'm back, baby. I'm back at top of the world. And then all it takes is a couple of days, and then all of a sudden it starts going back down that slope. And it's just really crazy that I've been aware of this. But even though I'm aware of it, I still go through it. I'm still on this weird journey in life, this very weird road where there's so many bumps on the road, and I keep falling, but I keep getting up. As a believer, I think that if you believe in Christ so I'll just stick to Christianity on this. So if you believe in Christ, it's not, Jesus never tells us that we will never sin again, that we won't have a harder time believing in him. In fact, he tells us the very opposite, that we will have a harder time because we believe in him, that the world will ridicule us because we believe in him, and we will face a lot of problems just in the world for Satan trying to get at us, So it's not about the amount of times that you fall, and as cliche as it might sound, yeah, it's the amount of times that you get back up, but it's the amount of it's the amount of times that you just stay on the road, you know? Like I'm staying on this path. I'm staying on the road no matter how many times my path tries to gets diverted because of the falls. I try to still have that some sort of faith in there, some sort of prayer at least just to keep me going. And then God has never left my side, you know? As many times as I've hurt him, as many times as I hurt God, he's never left my side. So I'm just very thankful that I have a God that loves me as bad of a person that I am at the end of the day, you know. I'm not worthy of his love. I'm not worthy of the mercy. I'm definitely not worthy of the blessings and the mercy. So I'm very thankful for the amount of love that I've received from our Father, you know.
Yeah, you know, like the one greatest thing, like to me, like the love that God gives us and shows us, the compassion, man, is like nothing else like it. There's no other love like that, and it goes back to like one of the things I love about, you know, our religion, our faith, is the fact that it teaches self-love.
Yeah.
And that's something you see a lot of people out here they just don't have it. You know, and it's
Can you go into a little like detail by what you mean by like teaching a little self-love? You know, I'm curious to hear a little bit about that.
Like in the sense of you know, when I'm saying like a lack of self-love, like any type of care for yourself, like your well-being, your mental state of being, your emotional and spiritual, you know, relationship. I think a lot of people are in a way, and please, people, don't take this out of context, even though you probably will.
There will be people that do take it out of context, but we're not trying to offend anybody here, you know?
No, we're not trying to offend anyone. We're going to offend people, but we're not trying to.
We're not trying to, but we will.
But, you know, I feel like a lot of people, they walk around hollow and empty, and they're without inner peace, like inner sanctuary. Like they're just looking outward for something to complete them. Like I have friends who say like, oh, I'm looking for that person to be the one. I'm looking for that person to complete me. And I'm like, why are you broken to begin with? Like, how can you love someone else? How can you be with someone else if you can't even stand being by yourself or with yourself? Like what do you like? And I'll ask them, like, do you value yourself? Do you have self-love? And they're like, well, you know, not really. I'm like, so if you can't find good in you that you like, that you love about you, how can someone else, like, you're going to make that person, you're going to effectively, if someone sees good in you and they love you and they care about you, you're going to start idolizing and worshiping that person.
And I've been in a relationship like that where I didn't have self-love. So I idolized that person, and it was the one source of happiness that I had. And once that person gets away from your life, you're left broken beyond belief, you know? And that's actually what had brought me to Christ in the first place. That was like my first real rock bottom in the world, because I went through a lot, and I I needed God at that point, man, because I was in a very, very dark place. But I want to clarify also something. Like, when you saying that does not mean that if you are not a believer in Christ, that you don't have self-love or that you don't have the capability of self-loving yourself. Exactly. I think that, so those who are listening, don't take it out of context for that. This isn't just the believers, because, see, as a believer, I like to think that I'm the worst of people in the world because I need God the most. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the one I'm weaker than you are for all I know. I'll take it like that. I need him more than probably you do. So that's what I think we should clarify on that, so people don't think that we're saying, oh, if you're not Christian, you don't have self-love. Like, it's not about that at all. It's just there's a different type of love that's provided by God.
Yeah.
That I believe in and that you believe in, you know?
Yeah. That's definitely it. Thank you for making that clarification. I didn't even think to clarify it. I'm like, nah, somebody's gonna try
because somebody's gonna try to, you know, like somebody once told me, because I had posted something on Twitter like, man, well, don't you think about how that could be perceived? And I looked at him like dead straight in the eyes, like, do you know how many perceptions there are in the world? Like,
Exactly.
if I say hey, if I just put hey on Twitter, somebody's gonna be like, you motherfucking racist piece of
Right.
trash. You know, I can't think of the 7 billion types of perceptions that could be taken from what I say. Just know the intent of what I say. And if you don't know the intent from where I'm coming from, you could ask. You could ask me, but nah, there's no asking. There's just pitchforks and band-aids being put on themselves, you know, like I don't know. There's a lot of pitchforks in the world all of a sudden.
You ever feel like that there's a lot of people addicted to drama and chaos? Like they're just going out looking for it?
As a human being, we crave drama. We want drama. We want to know that somebody else's life is more fucked up than ours because it makes us feel better about ourselves. How twisted in our mind, how crazy that we like to think that, you know, rather than the opposite. But it's amplified on social media because you're the one that's hating, and you're the one that is so disappointed with your wretched life that when you see somebody that's idolized or famous going through some shit, you're like, I feel better about myself. Oh,
right.
I'm not the only one who fucking, I don't know. I'm not the only one. That's it. It's that thought of I'm not the only one.
Yeah. It's truly something. Like, okay, so I was in a bit of YouTube drama because I do YouTube also, and this one YouTuber was saying how I think you probably saw the tweet from Harada where he said, you know, hey, if there's some interest in Tekken coming to the Switch, you know, we consider it. So a lot of these Nintendo YouTubers, they're a unique group.
Yeah.
So they were saying, oh, this is port begging. If you are showing any type of interest in the game coming to the Switch, developers should just put the game on the Switch. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with saying, hey, I'd be cool with having Tekken on the go? And because I said that, then they were like, oh, well, we have Smash Brothers. That's the best fighting game there is. I'm like, yo, Smash is cool, but it's not for everyone. Not everybody considers it a fighting game. And me saying that triggers so many people. They're like, how dare you say Smash is not a fighting game? I'm like, well, if you think about it, Nintendo created a whole fucking new category.
Yeah. It was a party game. It was started off as a party game, actually. If you've watched the Smash documentary, you'll see that the creator of Smash Brothers created Smash Brothers as a party game. And then it randomly somehow just people turned it into a fighting game, you know?
Yeah.
And made a competitive scene out of it. It was never meant to be competitive in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's what's like, that's crazy that you say that, man. It's crazy that there's people that it's for the likes, bro. It's just for, I don't know. I don't know what the phenomena is, but I'm glad that I'm not like it. Yeah. I'm so fucking happy that I'm not some cringy ass. I'm just so happy, bro. I'm real. I keep it. And that's just like, I'm a be 100, you know? I'm just going to always try to be 100 because the minute that I'm not, I feel like I let myself down.
Yeah.
You know? That's when I would feel depressed. And that's not to say that I've never said anything cringy or I've never done anything for likes or that I've never done anything that's for shill, you know? I've done all of that. I've done all of that, but I don't do, that's not me 99% of the fucking time, you know? I do my best to keep it real, but as a human being, I make mistakes and I make stupid mistakes. So yeah, of course there's times where I say some stupid cringy shit, but it's happened less and less and less and less as time goes on. And it's because every time I do want to quote somebody's tweet or say something, I'm on the quoted tweet and I just see the blinking of the line for me to type, and I'm just like why am I doing this? Like, is this just for another 80 likes? Like, what the fuck is this? What's wrong with you? Cancel this shit. Play some Battlefield. What are you doing?
Yeah, I bet you wasn't expecting to have this kind of talk on the podcast.
Bro, I'm happy that we're having this type of conversation. What do you think about season 4 Ken nerfs? Oh, no, they're mad. But no, I'm down to talk about those, of course. Of course I am. But I'm glad that we started off with the real. I'm glad that we started off with just expressing ourselves, for sure.
Yeah, man. Like I told you, all about organic conversations. That's one of the things, like, okay, like one of the things I try to do to separate like my podcast and myself from like from what I see when other people do interviews is I watch a lot of them, and a lot of them seem to be just like something surface level. Oh, what do you know? What do you think of the tier list for this season? What do you think of this input? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it's like, it's some general, anybody can go on and Google, or if they know it, they'll know it. So I'm like, let's go beyond the surface. If I'm gonna have a guest on here, okay, we could talk about that. We could sprinkle it all in. What's that? That dude that was doing
the Asphalt Bay.
Yeah, we could talk about all that, but the thing that I really want to focus on when I get a guest on, because for me, I'm the type of person who was like, I literally think like this, and I know I need to stop thinking like this, is that I'm like, hey, who would want to come on my show? But when people come on, I'm like, okay, cool, I've got this opportunity. I want to know more about the person. I'm genuinely interested more in the person than whatever the subject is, and that I don't.
Hit it right on the mark, bro. Hit it right on the mark on that one. And I thank you for having me again. I'm having a wonderful time, dude. I really, it's funny that you say that, bro, because I was really in my head before this, like, I high key don't even want to do it, and I'm just being honest. You know why? Because I was like, this is just going to be like every other interview where it's just going to be, so what are your thoughts about this? How was side games? How was this? It's like, all right, I'll do it just to be a nice person. I'm being honest with you right now, and it was just to like be a nice person. But when the first conversation that we had before recording, I was like, this is my guy right now. I like this guy. Let's talk. We're talking now, and it led to some good conversation. And I honestly feel like I know you now. As trippy as that sounds, I feel so comfortable talking to you, and I feel like if I were to see you, it's going to be good vibes, So thank you for making my time on here much, much more comfortable than what I thought it was going to be. And thank you for showing interest in getting to know me as a person. I appreciate that. And same goes for me. I mean, I wish I could ask. I would love for you to be on the Gauntlet as well. Hey, so how about that? Let's arrange a time where you could be a guest on the Gauntlet.
Hey, man, let me know.
Let's get it. But yeah, I guess you can continue.
Shit, what was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess we could get the questions. I'm over here like, man, I want to go back down the rabbit hole and stick on the real stuff. But okay, I know the audience probably does want me to ask these questions. I know I feel like I need a separate account just for this podcast, because my DMs, I got at least 2,000 questions, and I'm sitting here at work at my desk like
2,000
DMs on Twitter, and then
regarding
questions to ask you.
There was like 2,000 questions. Are you serious?
2,000 questions
about
on
me?
Twitter. Yeah, like, yo, can you ask him this? Can you ask him that? And I'm like, let me go back to
okay. Before you continue, oh my God, bro, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure the number wasn't 2,000, but just I want to say to those that did ask questions of just whatever your questions were and wanting to get to know me better or my thoughts on certain things, mostly probably Street Fighter related. Thank you for your support. Thank you for asking your questions. And I hope that I get to as many of them as possible. And if not, then I'm sorry, but hopefully you enjoy the answers to the other questions as well. But thank you so much for showing your interest in me. That makes me feel really, really awesome that you guys are that interested.
I tell you, man, people out here in Hawaii, man, you got a lot of people that vibe with you. Like, the Hawaii scene is so, I don't know if it's because we're not physically connected to the rest of the U.S., but we got a different vibe out here, man.
Bro, I bet, bro. I'm all about the vibes, bro. I am all about the vibes. You know that. You know that.
So I know one of the main questions, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask this one because this is one that a lot of people want to know about, and it's like when it comes to when it comes to FGC, like, do you feel that there should be like a sort of FGC, like a player alliance, or rather a group organized to advocate for the FGC players as tournaments become bigger or more monetized, or what? Because it seems like there's that massive divide where we got the true FGC, or, well, not true FGC, but you know what I mean? Like, the people that care about the game and the scene, and then you got the social people, and then you got the people that are in it for the money and whatnot.
The fame and all that. Yeah. I think it would be too hard to do that because who's the one who makes the judgment on this person is in it for the games, this person is in it for the clout, this person's in it for this. Anybody that makes judgment on that is going to be not taken seriously because he's going to offend everybody. Let's say you take the OGs of Street Fighter, right? Like, let's say you have a panel of judges or some shit, like 5 judges, John Troy, Bae, fucking Daigo, blah, 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 whatever, right? And they're the ones who get to decide. They have hammers and shit, like, hammers. What do they have in their hands? The fucking
the gavel. Yeah.
The gavel, and they're the ones that decide, okay, well, Christie, he joined in Street Fighter 4 era. He's a competitive player for a long time. I've seen him stick with his character because of these things. He seems to have character pride. He seems to be in it for the loyalty of the game. Let's put him in this category as one of the people that deserve the benefits. Well, this person just entered the community last year and is somehow trying to, you just can't do that because you're just going to offend everybody. And in a community full of pussies, you're going to offend everybody. And that's just the truth. There's a lot of pussies in this community, man. It's just, I was talking to you about it earlier. The FGC is not what it is anymore. It's just, to me, it's just not what it is anymore. Everybody is just very, very offended and all of that. So I would like for something like that, I guess. Maybe. I don't know how it would work out so well, but I think it would, if somehow there was a perfect world, then yeah, we could make it work. But I don't mind the way things are right now. Eventually, it might just end off burning itself. Yeah, that's just. Sorry if I offended anybody, but if you're a pussy, then don't be one.
People out here in Hawaii, we don't get offended by shit like that. So
let's get it.
Keeping it real, man. I love the energy that you bring into the podcast, man. Like, I greatly appreciate that.
Of course.
I will. One of the other questions following up, because I feel like a lot of people want to understand like more of the business side of it. So one of the other questions is like, how should tournaments be organized when it comes to like when players compete, and also, what is your take on the music shifting to being more EDM and house versus being hip hop?
No, you don't want to ask. You don't want to ask me that question, bro. I'm gonna shit on a lot of people. Yeah, I'm gonna shit on a lot of people right now. Okay, let's keep it real. First question. The first part of that question was, repeat it to me one more time. I lost my train of thought. My apologies. I got excited on the ladder.
No worries. How should tournaments be organized?
Okay. There was something that Daigo said maybe last year or 2 years ago where he's a big fan of invitationals. I am a huge fan of invitationals. I think that there should be 2 tournament types. Well, you could have multiple, but there should 100% be a league or something like that where it's top players and they're invited to like an invitational tournament, and it's like a first to 5 set or a first to 10 set, a round robin, things like that. I love things like that because it really does show who the better player is. Even in a volatile game like Street Fighter V, it really does show who the better player is I'm making sure I'm saying it correctly because it's Street Fighter 5, and I don't know if I 100% agree with me saying that, but for the most part, it could at least show somebody who adapts better, right? To a certain extent, because there's 50-50s. Fuck, this is hard with Street Fighter 5. But I do believe that there should be invite only tournaments as well. You can have the public tournaments, you can have the CPT, you can have the everybody join in, open invites, whatever, but you should also have something for the elites of the players. And I say that because it's so easy for the top player to lose in one of those big tournaments where it's 2 out of 3 to somebody random, or to just not showcase themselves well enough. Even if we are the consistent ones, and if you want to be in that elite group of players, then you first got to go through being a shitty player and being in those competitions. And then when you get to a certain level, then you get invited to this league of events. So yeah, I think there should be some sort of invite only events as well. I think a lot of top players would appreciate that. And Daigo was the first one that I saw say that, and I never agreed more.
Awesome.
And the second part was the music shift. I am a huge fan of hip hop, 90s, R&B. I fucking love R&B. Is my favorite genre of music. So if there's R&B, I'm dancing, bro. I'm finding the first girl that I see and I'm dancing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it's vibes, it's soul, you're grinding, all of that. And you gotta dance, you gotta have moves, you gotta move right. But with EDM, I'm just not a big fan. I used to be a big fan of EDM back when I was in high school, but it just got very it's just the same thing over and over again to me. And I just couldn't really get hype from it, anymore. I couldn't okay, we're jumping up and down. I get it. But it's not I can't grind, bro. I want to grind. I want to grind. I want some booty. I want to grind, I want to listen to some good music. I want to listen to sex making music. I love that. Yeah, even if it's at an FGC event, if I find a girl there or whatever, getting down. You feel me? We're dancing. We're having a good time. And yeah, LTG is somebody that you should talk to about that as well, because we were at Evo, and myself and Low Tier God and Zeus. I don't know if you remember the Vega player from Street Fighter 4, isn't it? Zeus, best Vega. And we walked into the club and it was just straight EDM, and Zeus was like, "Man, what is this trash?" He's like, "I want to get the fuck out of here." And I was just laughing, bro, because it was just comedy to me. But nothing against EDM. Like, you guys can have it as whatever. I don't really care anymore. It's just I can't really turn up like that at the events, at the after parties. I like good music, man. And that's, again, not to say that EDM's bad music. I just think that at a party, I like to dance. I like to vibe. You feel me?
Yeah. I fully agree, man. I used to actually, at one point, I was working in the music industry. I was a ghostwriter and ghost singer, and I used to write a lot of R&B, a lot of jazz, well, not jazz, a lot of soul, and write some stuff for rap too. And it's when that shift happened, I want to say it was 2011, 2012 is when we shifted away from hip hop to EDM, and it was a sharp shift.
Yeah.
And it's taken over. And I've gone to a lot of the clubs, even clubs out here in Hawaii, the spots that used to be jumping. You step in there and it's oh, okay, we're playing EDM, and then they'll play one hip hop track.
Yeah.
Right back to EDM.
And that one hip hop track is "To the Window, to the Wall," and all the girls "To the sweat drop down my balls." Bro, I'm not trying to hear this shit right now. This is not, I when I went to Dominican Republic, that was I literally told them, take me to the nastiest clubs, bro. I'm trying to get down. I want to hear some Spanish music. I want to see some Spanish ladies, bro. And they were like, "Yo, you're not ready for this place. You're not ready." They took me to this club. This was the night before Top 8, by the way. They took me to this club, and that was the first time that I heard Te Bote. Yo Te Bote, bro. That was the
man.
first time hearing that, and that was before it hit United States. That was before it hit United States, like hard, that song. So I was like, I was in the club. Bro, I was going down, and I'm just like losing my mind. Like, this is the music that I want to listen to at a club, just the Spanish, the bodies, you know. I like that. It kind of gave me the accent, you know. I like that. But yeah, bro. I mean, EDM, whatever. I need to pop some Molly or something like that to be on some EDM.
Exactly.
And I've never popped Molly, so I don't know.
You know what's funny is a lot of people I know that go to like the rave scenes out here in Hawaii. That like when I've gone to with them to like we've got our own little Wonderland EDM events, and I'm like, yo, all I'm hearing is noise. Like I don't feel a rhythm. I don't feel like there's anything going on. They're like, oh, take this pill. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that? They're like, well,
it's fucking gonna open up your mind, bro.
Yeah, for real. They're like, yo, you'll feel the vibes and you'll see the colors. And I'm like, so you're telling me that on top of paying entry, I gotta take this fucking pill. Trust yo ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm good on that. Pimping, you can keep that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I've just seen it. I've just seen like people like more on drugs to enjoy EDM than I've seen people on drugs or like heavy drugs, I should say, to enjoy R&B, hip hop. You could like I see more people. I mean, of course, people that are into R&B and hip hop are most likely weed smokers. So, and that's I feel like that's very normal, very recreational. But if you're taking like Molly and ecstasy and fucking all of that, just to have a good time. That's the key word. Just to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you need that just to have a good time, then I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, I used to be into EDM. I kind of grew out of that phase. I couldn't really get down to it anymore. And that's just me personally.
And so, like with the music for like these after parties at these tournaments, like why?
I don't know, but you know what's crazy is that at Capcom Cup there was one DJ that was playing, and she was so sexy, bro. She was so like she was so sexy, so sexy, and she was playing some really good tracks, and I was like, you're so sexy and you're playing some great music. Fuck. Probably never going to happen again. Because we're probably going to get the same DJs that just play the
You know, and it's kind of funny. Like everyone feels like they can just be a DJ now. Yeah, let me get FL Studio and then let me mix the common thing. And I'm an artist now. Like, no, if you're an artist, you're creating music, not just making sound. Anyone can make sound. Let's make some music. Oh man. So you know, okay. Speaking of Street Fighter V, I gotta ask you this because look. I played all the Street Fighters, even the original shitty 1987 one, which but you know, I have come to enjoy each Street Fighter as they come out, and I enjoy 5, and I know it's controversial. I'm probably gonna get hate comments for saying you like Street Fighter 5 is trash. I enjoy it, you know. I didn't start competitively playing in tournaments until probably Street Fighter 4. Like there wasn't a scene for me to do that, but while I admit Ultra Street Fighter 4 is a better Street Fighter than 5, I do appreciate what 5 is trying to do, but I see so many people hate it. Like, why do you think so many people hate the game? Because it's like they hate it, but they keep playing it and crying about it.
I'm one of those people. I wouldn't say I absolutely like. I don't want to say that I absolutely hate the game, because like I'm never gonna put anything, any of my time into something I absolutely hate. You know, not even for money. Like I wouldn't do that. There is the aspect. Okay, for myself personally, I'm just a Street Fighter fanboy. Like I fucking love Street Fighter. You know, just the title itself and everything that it comes with. The fact that that I'm known as like one of the best Ken players is like a ego type of thing for me. My ego likes that. So I like to continue playing the game as Ken, even though I'm not going to do that in season 4.
Yeah, they did Ken dirty.
They did them dirty. I like certain parts about 5. For example, the fact that I probably don't need to practice combos as much because they're the same, and I could just get by the regular bread and butters. And I like competing. I'm a very competitive person. I'm a very, 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 very competitive person. So, and that just feeds into my, as a competitor and as somebody that's been doing this for 9-10 years, it's just I don't see myself stopping, But on the other side, yeah, there's a lot of things that I really don't like about the game, man, and it's made my time very uncomfortable while playing, and it's forced me to just be very upset when I play. Very stressed, very disappointed, very hurt. Like it drove me to like hit my stick, and that's just being honest. Like I've hit my stick so many times before just because of playing online, and that shit is fucking trash. Like, can we just all agree how fucking trash Street Fighter 5 online is? Like, how do you have a game in 2018 where you had 700 betas and all of them were to test the online, and it's been 3 years and your online is still straight shit? Like, that's just a lack of any type of respect to the players. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of it. If you respect the players enough, that's the number one thing that you would work on. Not fucking whack-ass Chun-Li costumes, let alone 40 of them, and not the ad style costumes or anything like that. You would put your time into where it matters, and that's the online as one of the main key component things into this game. But since Japan's online is crystal clear perfect, they don't need to worry about that. And that's just Capcom Japan, They have the old school Japanese culture and business mentality, and fuck it, why it's not affecting them,
True.
But yeah, there's a lot of problems that I have with the game. As a top player, I have a lot of problems with the game. Just today, I was streaming and I was pissed off. Just today, I was streaming and I was like, man, I really fucking hate this right now. Like, I'm just not happy playing this. Like, this guy, I played this Laura player, and I'm Zeku, and he beat me by doing 50-50s, like just pure 50-50s is why I lost. So I was just like, man, it's just constant reminders that you don't have to be better than me to beat me. And in nowhere else in life have I seen something like that. I've never seen anything, not just fighting games, anything in life where a veteran loses to somebody who is not a veteran, or even an amateur, in something that the veteran should excel at, Like, it might happen once in a blue moon. Let's just say it like that. Let's keep it honest here, right? Because it does happen. That does happen in life. But it does not happen as consistently as it does within Street Fighter 5. So let's say one day LeBron James loses to somebody that's not better than him in a one-on-one. But you know damn well that LeBron is probably going to win 99% of the games. If you've taken LeBron James, like if I've played basketball for 3 years, which is the lifespan of Street Fighter 5, and I challenge LeBron James, who's been playing basketball fucking forever, and I'm beating him, that would raise some questions inside of my head. Like, either I'm fucking godlike, or there's something wrong here. There's something that's like fundamentally wrong here, And when you look at the mechanics of the game and you see that the way that you lose is by flipping a coin all the time, it's not just once, but all the time, then yes, there's a clear fundamental problem with the design. But we all know why the design is that way. It's to make new people come in and think, hey, I can be Daigo, I can beat Daigo.
Yeah.
without having to put as much time and effort into it. See, fighting games are sick because you have to really work hard at a fighting game. You have to put time into your execution. You have to put time into your mental, into all of that. But why does all of that matter when you could just pick Mika and just 50-50 people? When you could just pick Zangief and just one SPD leads to another one and then you're dead. When you could pick Laura and there's no neutral. You know what I'm saying? There's just things like this that are very... It's just a problem, you know. But here's the bigger problem is that top players will not talk about it this way. Nobody will talk about it this way. You know why? Because it's their life. It's their lifestyle. If you make Capcom upset or if you make fans upset, they're gonna be like, man, fuck this guy. It's 2018. I'm offended. How dare you say that? I can do it just as good, bro. Like, keep it real, man. Just keep it real. If you don't speak up when shit's bullshit, it's gonna end. It's gonna die in flames. We've seen this happen time and time again. But that's me. So if you enjoy the game, then you enjoy the game, and I'm happy that you enjoy the game.
No, see, now that has given me perspective, because I've always heard it from people that already weren't good at the game. I've never heard it from... Well, I've never had the opportunity to talk to someone who is an elite level player like yourself to break it down like that. That makes sense to me. On that sense, I get you.
Imagine it from my perspective. Like, I worked so hard. I worked so hard. I put so many hours into perfecting my craft. And I'm not the best player right now, you know? But I love that I'm not the best. I still have room to grow as a player, but I've worked harder than a lot of the people that are beating me, you know? Or I'll just keep it to online. Like, I've worked a lot harder than the people that are beating me online because, well, okay, let me break it down, right? From my perspective, let's say I've been doing this for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had to go through so many experiences of losing and in tournament and having to literally be in bed, like after a tournament, like, all right, why did I lose? Like, how do I get better from that situation? Fuck, I got to watch my loss. I got to do this. I got to do that, you know, because I care about it and whatever. And then you sit down and you watch and you see yourself just controlling everything. And then you see one mistake, or it doesn't even have to be a mistake. You just got placed inside of a situation where you have to flip the coin. And you're like, you see that you guessed wrong, and the follow-up was another flip of the coin that you guessed wrong, and then you're one hit away from stun. Now it's either a shimmy, a throw, or I'm going to wake up DP or something, and I guessed wrong again, and I died, right? So when you see yourself lose like that, there's nothing more hurtful, I think, as a top player, as somebody that's been that is very good at the game. And I'm not trying to, you know, I try to be as humble as I can. But for somebody that's very good at the game, that hurts. That really, really hurts me. But nobody thinks about that, you know? Nobody thinks about the players who have invested so much in themselves, invested so much of their time and energy and just pure skill to get better. How about that? Like, why don't we get anything for actually being good? You know, why do you deserve to beat me just because you want to beat me? But my skill actually does not have that much factor in it anymore. You know, there's less consistency now. The only person that's the most consistent is Tokido. But look at who Tokido's played in every version of the game. He played the best character from season 1 until Akuma came out, which was the best character of the game. You know, and he knew the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Look at Daigo. Like, he had to switch to Guile. He couldn't do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So as a top player, it hurts. It hurts when you see yourself lose like that. So it starts making you question, like, I don't see where I'm going wrong. I just see that I guessed wrong. And maybe it was that one mistake that I did in the match that led to the guessing. But hey, that person made like so many mistakes too. And they didn't get put in that situation. And I'm saying this because I play Ken, right? But if you look at the previous Street Fighters and you're like, I don't see that happening as often. You know? And when I would watch my matches in the previous Street Fighters as I was learning to get better, there was clear vision. There was clear vision of this is where I went wrong. need to work on this as mental. I need to work on this in my ground game. I need to make sure that I put my opponent in this situation better. And, it was the real calculus that you were doing. It was real theory fighting and science and breakdown. Now it's just, how do I get him to the corner? And how do I get this V trigger out?
Okay. So you break it down like that, I get it.
Yeah.
Because you did not have these problems in Street Fighter 4 or 3.
No. Street Fighter 4 was my baby, bro. I love Street Fighter 4 with my heart. And there was a lot of bullshit in that game. There was a lot of bullshit in Street Fighter 4. But you know what there also was? Defensive options and ways to get out of 50-50s. There was ways to get out of it. Instead of just holding left or right, or doing an EXDP. And if you block it, or if the opponent blocks it, you lose 60% of your life for it. Like, no. There was ways. There was at least a method to the madness, Yeah,
definitely. And, this leads into my next question. And I only have about 3 more questions. I feel like
sorry, I'm rambling as well. For those listening, I apologize for the ramble. I'm just venting as well, so that might lead into more emotional and stupid things that I might say.
Oh, man, it's fine. This is how we get down on the podcast, man. Like, honestly, all the other questions I had, man, we organically just flowed into each and every one of them. So I'm fine with it. I mean, one of the questions. And I'm seeing this a lot when it comes to fighting games. And, this is going back to what you said about, learning how to play the game. And that was one of the things that I have, growing up. That's why I still gravitate towards fighting game is that learning curve, figuring out how things work. Because, I mean, it's kind of like anything in life. You want to be good at it, you're going to grind at it. But I'm seeing so many games come out, especially this excessive push with the anime fighters, where they're pushing for more of an easy access or easy operation, and I know it's to bring in more of the casuals, but I don't know if it's people think that they'll graduate from playing this casual game to playing more technical, because I don't feel like it works that way. I mean, do you think it does? Do you think that these tag and anime fighters being so easy?
Okay. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's use Dragon Ball Fighters for example, right? Dragon Ball Fighters has auto combos. That's the most scrub friendly mechanic you could ever include in a fighting game, auto combo. But the auto combo is not max damage. The auto combo is not optimal. From what I hear, just because it's not max damage, and from the situation, I guess, I don't know. But the auto combo is just an auto combo. And I think that's a very genius thing to do in a fighting game if it's not optimal, because it allows the person, the new player, to just just to mash that button and to feel like they're playing a fighting game and to feel good about the fact that they're doing a combo, like, because they don't know how to do it yet. But then all it takes is for somebody that's better than them to do the optimal combo, and they're like, well, fuck, I don't want to do this combo anymore. It's not what's the optimal one? Let me learn the optimal one. Well, it's a little more difficult to learn Chip. I don't know why his name is Chip, but his name is, I'm going to just say, switch the name to Brad. All right. It's a little more difficult than what you're doing there, Brad. You're going to have to press more buttons in different timings,
I prefer Chip, man. Chip is a good name.
Chip, all right. Well, the guy talking's Chip. He's talking to Brad. But you see what I'm saying? And Brad's like, all right, well, if I want to get better, this is what I got to learn. I think that's an ingenious idea. I like that idea. I like that, because I as a competitor, I want more money in the pot. Go ahead, bring more people in. Make it easier for the new people to come in. However, don't make it stupid brain dead, like a easy 50-50 left right. You know what I'm saying? Don't make it to where somebody, like, now compare Dragon Ball Fighters to Street Fighter 5. How often have you heard in Dragon Ball Fighters where a top player in Dragon Ball Fighters can get randomed out?
I have not.
Have you even ever heard of that conversation within Dragon Ball Fighters where, like, randoming out somebody is such a heavy, like, topic?
No.
Maybe I haven't even seen, I won't even include 5%. I've never visually seen it, But because of the factor that I could have, I'm gonna say maybe I've seen like the 5% of the discussion, you know?
Mm.
Whereas how often have you seen the random factor been discussed within Street Fighter 5 or top players getting randomed out within Street Fighter 5?
That's
It's synonymous.
yeah.
It's synonymous with the game. So there's something fundamentally wrong here though, right? Because both parties are trying to bring new players in, but one of them is just doing it very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one actually succeeded. Dragon Ball Fighter sold how many copies? Just because of the name Dragon Ball. Just because of the name Dragon Ball, but there's so many people that just enjoyed playing it, you know?
Yeah.
But here's the thing too. You hear people that are new to Street Fighter 5, are new to Street Fighter from Street Fighter 5, and they're like, yeah, dude, I don't like the way that I'm losing. Like I don't know how to get better. You know?
Yeah.
There's not like I just don't know how to get better. Like how do you somebody literally 2 days ago asked me to discuss this on the Gauntlet. Was like I was playing against the Grandmaster Mika and I lost like 5 to 10 times. But then I played against a really shitty Mika, like a diamond ranked or something like that, and I just could not beat that player. Like why? How did that happen? I played the better Mika.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter who you're playing. The matchups don't matter anymore. You're gonna get 50-50 regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could pass off by making a game easier, you know? You could for sure pass off by making a game easier. And I just think that too easy is a problem. Because then it starts affecting the skill of the game,
Yeah.
you know?
What do you think of like what this is transitioning to another topic, but
So okay, before you say that, let me finish off. You can make a fighting game hard as hell, but also godlike. You can make a fighting game hard as hell, but make somebody want to play it as well, you know? Like it's not like if a fighting game is hard, just because somebody's new to it does not mean that they're going to be turned off from it, you know? Because that's just a matter of perception from that person, you know? You could advertise your game to bring more people into the game, right? You could advertise your game better to bring more people into the game. And if your game is actually good enough, then people are going to want to get better at it, you know?
yeah.
There's like Cross Tekken had auto combos as well and things like that. But would you look at that? It was literally regarded as one of the best fighting games that had ever been released. Ask any top player what they thought about Cross Tekken. All of them will praise that fucking game because it was one of the sickest games I've ever played in my life.
I was actually going to ask you about that game. That's my next question.
People just found it boring to watch, but you see high level neutral I don't know how you find that boring. That's just, there's something wrong with your head if you find that boring to me. You know, as a fighting game player, I find that fucking sexy as hell.
All right. And speaking of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I love that game. We love that game out here in Hawaii.
One of the best games ever.
And it just feels, I personally feel like the community killed it.
Free, because the community was whack. That's why I killed it. I don't want to watch timeouts. I don't want to watch back and forth. Like, you don't know the amount of pressure that just goes into having to play like that and having to play perfectly and fucking make godlike reads on rolls and things like that. Bro, the game was fucking amazing, man. And there was a lot of bullshit in that game. There was so much bullshit in that game, but it was still one of the sickest games because it was hard and it was fucking fun as hell. All Tekken characters were broken.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Hwoarang was broken. Jin was broken. Aliso was broken. Those characters were brain dead broken, but you know what? The game, you could still beat them, and the game was just so godlike. I love Cross Tekken.
All right.
That game died like a fucking too early, man.
It really did. Like that. And I feel like when you look at like the amount of production value that went into it, the development, that was supposed to be the next big game.
They had a TV show for it, man.
Yep.
The game was amazing. The game was The game was way ahead of its time too, man. The way the game played was way ahead of its time. It looked nice. It looked amazing. It was godlike. I don't want to cry right now.
But I mean, like, really, like, and it's really annoyed the hell out of me that they have not re-released that on
For PS4.
Yeah,
they need to. They need to.
Man, I have it. I bought it on sale on Steam. I have it on my PS3, but I couldn't stream it because of the stupid anti-piracy thing on the PS3. But I bought it on Steam, and man, there's a workaround just to get it to work. Yeah. And I'm like, no, this just needs to put this on the PS4. Let me just hook up my Elgato, and I'm good. Like the game, I literally, when I went back to playing it, man, I was on that joint for like 5 hours.
Hours.
But
hours.
And a lot of people keep saying, like, when are we gonna get Tekken Cross Street Fighter? I'm like, well, I mean, would you blame Namco for not wanting to put that out, given how
Cross Tekken, man, what a game.
But people keep thinking that, why don't we get Tekken Cross Street Fighter? I'm like, well, look at how the
butchered.
Yeah, we're kind of getting that with Tekken 7. They're kind of like dipping their toe in the water with Akuma.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't play Tekken. I just it looked like Street Fighter 4. It played like Street Fighter 4 to some extent. So I liked that part of the game,
Mm-hmm. So I guess my last main question, and the other one's which is better, pat or stick?
Oh, that's your main question?
No, that's like the
that's fine. We can answer those quick. Let's have like a quick round or something like that.
All right. So one of the questions people want to know about is, like, what is it like being sponsored to compete competitively, and what are some of the ups and downs? And do you recommend people be sponsored, or just?
Oh man, it's a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole question. But let's be real here. Okay, being sponsored is one of the best things that a player could have, for sure. You know why? Because of the travel.
Yeah.
That's it. Because of the travel, because of the fact that you get to see the world as a human being. And there's nothing better than being able to see the world, meet people, and fucking just make amazing memories with everybody. And just us doing this right now, I consider that part of it, Mm-hmm. And you have more opportunity to compete and to make a name for yourself, of course. Now, this misconception that you get sponsored, you're living the life, is a fucking lie. It is a lie. It is a lie. It is not what it is. Being sponsored is not what you think it may be. And also depends on who you're sponsored by. Let's see. I would say that there's maybe 1% of the FGC in total. 1% of the FGC total is making a living out of what they're doing. So this is Sonic Fox, Tokido, Daigo, Momochi, Justin Wong. That's it.
Wow.
And like a couple more names in there that are just the gods, Other than that, everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. It's a poverty esport. It's not there yet. It's definitely not there yet. And you're going to be struggling. You're going to be struggling. If you think that you're going to get a sponsor and all of a sudden all your bills are going to be paid and everything's going to be fine and dandy, no, that's incorrect. Why? Because sponsors don't give a fuck about you, and that's just keeping it real. They actually do not give a fuck about you. They care about their money, and if you're not making them money, you're done. Think about how much a sponsor has to pay to you for you to live comfortably and for you to compete in. Let's just keep it to CPT. Total cost of CPT travel costs around $25,000 to $30,000 alone.
Holy shit!
If you wanna attend to, like, if you're trying to qualify for Capcom Cup, you're looking to spend around $25,000 to $30,000 on travel alone. Now that's just the minimum. That's just like maybe going to half of the events, or like 75% of the events. It could cost more depending on the hotels that you got to stay in, or the prices or whatever, So a sponsor is looking at this like, damn, 25 to 30 grand. Holy fuck. That's just the estimate, the average estimate that we get. And then on top of that, this player is asking for, what do you think a player is going to want, by the way? What do you think a top player is going to want to make when they get sponsored? Well, they want a salary, right? Because they want to pay their bills. They want to make this their job. They want to live. Now, for you to do that in today's world, let's just say in California, for myself, I'm going to need maybe around 3 grand. 3 grand minimum. Minimum, I want 3 grand. Why? Because this will allow me to have my own apartment, for me to pay rent for that apartment, which is going to be around $1,200 or whatever, and for me to at least have some spare money for myself and spend it, whatever. Right? How many sponsors do you know that are wealthy enough to provide 3 grand a month? That's the bare minimum, 3 grand a month. Not that many. And on top of that, multiply 3 times 12 for 12 months. Let's say you have a year-long contract with them. They are obligated to give you $3,000 per month. What's 3 times 12?
Good point.
$36,000. $36,000 on top of 25 to 30, let's just say $30,000. The sponsor's looking like, I got to pay 66 grand just to have this person play. Like, wait a minute. Okay. Well, he's saying that I'm going to get a lot out of it, right? Because you're promoting their product, right? You're promoting their product by going on stream and playing. Well, how many people view FGC events? Let's just say at a major, it's increased for sure. Let's say a normal major now gets somewhere between $25,000 to $30,000, 25 to 30,000 people watching, right? On average, on like the finals day or something like that, Who is watching and sees the 3 letters in front of your name and is like, I'm going to go search up this company and I'm going to buy their fucking hand warmer or their video game chair or their fucking pad or fight stick or something? Who is doing that? Let's say a couple thousand. Well, no, I'm not even going to say that. No, who actually is doing that? Who does that? I don't do that. I don't see BST in front of Daigo's name and I'm like, I'm going to go on Beast and buy this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I'm not going to waste my money like that. And then on top of that, think about this. Let's say there are people, because of course there are people that do buy and that support their players. And I've had people that support me because of that like they saw the sponsor name like Beast and they bought some things from Beast because they're a fan of me, And as the player, I'm like, thank you so much for doing that, because that shows my sponsor that I'm somewhat worth something, that you're going to make some sort of money off of me. But now let's say, how often does that happen? They're probably making like $200 from you. Or like, let's give them a good number. Let's give them $1,000. You made them $1,000 because of just your marketability, right? They spent 66 grand on you and you made them $1,000. And that's on a good year. You made them $1,000.
Wow.
Because let's be real. If you're not Daigo, how many people are going to purchase that shit, How many people?
Yeah.
Daigo is the only one that's doing it. Justin Wong and Daigo have the highest marketability in the FGC total, and Sonic Fox as well. Daigo could be shitting and he could be making money. You know what I'm saying? But just keeping it real, like Psy Games has made a fuck ton of money because of Daigo, because it's Daigo. But you think little online warrior who is just coming up on the scene is going to want to get sponsored, who wants to make $1,500 from their sponsor? They want to be nice and just be like, okay, well, just give me $1,000 a month. Even that $1,000, they're spending 12 grand on you yearly, plus the 30 grand for travel if you want to travel everywhere. And how much money did you make them? How much money did you make them? Nothing. So they don't give a fuck about you. That's why you don't see people getting sponsored like that. All these fake ass sponsors, bro. This is all fake. This is all a business. Everybody's fake. Everybody is shady. Everybody at the first chance that they have will stab you in the back. Don't get it twisted. Why do you think I don't have my beard right now? Let me ask you, why do you think I just shaved? Yesterday, I posted a picture of me just like trolling, like just of what I was wearing, right? I was actually wearing the sweater. But I had my beard out, right? You know what I realized yesterday? And I actually talked about this on the Gauntlet as well. I realized I'm wasting my time waiting for a sponsor. I'm wasting my time waiting for a sponsor. And look at this, for example. I got dropped by Side Games. You know?
Yeah.
I qualified for Capcom Cup and I got dropped by Side Games. And there was other reasons for that. And I'm sure I'm unable to talk about those reasons at the moment, you know? But I'm telling you this, it's not as pretty as it might seem. It's not as what you think it might be. Go get yourself a job. Go get yourself an education. Do something. I needed a degree. I'm so happy that I got my degree in chemistry, a real degree that I could at least do something with my life if this didn't work out, you know? And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I'm a top player. It didn't work out. I put all of my heart and soul into it and became known and have a following and all of that. It didn't work out. I was on my dream team. I worked 10 years to be on Daigo's team. Daigo is the one who inspired me to compete, and it didn't work out. All it takes is for one shady person in the company. All it takes is for you to not make them just as much as money as they thought you were going to make them. Why should they keep you? This is a business. This is a twisted, sickening business, and it's full of lies. It's full of deception. All it does is it raises the hopes of the incoming player that you're going to get everything that you want, you know? But then you quickly see that, holy shit, these contracts, they don't even have to abide by it if they want to. You know why? Because they're a bigger company than you, and you're not going to be able to sue them.
Damn.
Because you want to be treated a certain type of way, you know? And you find out quickly that my best interest is not their best interest. And that's not to say that every sponsor is shady. I've seen from my experience as a sponsored player before, and having so many friends that are top players that are sponsored now and everything, it's not as pretty as what people think it is from the outside perspective. You don't hear the shit that I've heard, man. You haven't experienced the things that I've experienced dealing with sponsors and whatnot, you know? They care about themselves. They have business to make. They have money to make. Mm-hmm. So you got to really think about the logistics. So I shaved my beard this morning and I started going job hunting because there's no point anymore. Now, if I get sponsored, I get sponsored for sure. But I can't rely on it, man. And there's no shittier feeling than that. You put your heart and soul into something only for it to stab you in the back so many times over and over and over again. Like, enough is enough, bro. I'm going job hunting. I need something stable to provide me with some income. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to take care of myself without having to think, what if my sponsor doesn't sponsor me anymore because I didn't win a tournament? Like, what?
Yeah.
Imagine the pressure of that. Imagine the pressure of trying to qualify for Capcom Cup, you know? Like, if you don't, your sponsor could drop you. If you do, your sponsor could drop you. Still, you know, that's OD, isn't it? You could actually do everything right and still get dropped. Sorry, I went on a ramble, but I'm just trying to inform those people, man. I really want to inform those people. You guys got to do something else with your time. You guys got to do something else with your time as well. Now, don't just devote it to Street Fighter. Don't lose your family. Don't lose yourself for Street Fighter or whatever game that you're playing. You know, it's very seldom that you see people hit the lottery with this shit. Ninja, I spoke to Ninja in person. In person, I spoke to Ninja the first time that I met him. I said, "Tell me how you did it, please. Please tell me how you made $50,000, $100,000 in one night and became a millionaire." He was like, "To be honest, bro, I just got lucky. There's no method. There's nothing. I can't tell you anything. And I would feel bad if I told you something that wasn't true. I literally just got lucky. It's all luck. It is. You're going to get lucky or you're not going to get lucky."
You know, and dude, I appreciate you keeping it 100 like that, because this is some of the stuff that I hear. I know a lot of people hate on LTG. I'm cool with LTG.
He's my boy. That's my guy.
For real, man. He keeps it 100, and it's probably like when people start hating on him, I'm like, yo, do you even know him? No, you don't. All right, shut up. Miss me with that nonsense. Yeah. But it's like, you know, he talks about the same thing, you know, like you're saying as well. Like, don't make this your be all end all. Don't put everything in it. And it's like folks don't be trying to hear that because I think it goes back to like what we were talking at the beginning of the show about the whole thing with the social media, with people trying to get famous just like that. That's a serious problem where you got young cats coming up thinking that I'm going to be the next Daigo. I'm not going to be this. And then when it doesn't work out, like you said, what
you're lost.
What do you have to fall back on? You know,
nothing. You know, nothing. What do you have to fall back on? I thank God. I thank God that I was blessed with a family that supports me with whatever I do, and I thank God that I was smart enough to finish my degree, so I could at least land something that could be stable. You know, that could at least provide me with a stable lifestyle. You know. If it wasn't for that, I would have been lost a long time ago, bro. I wouldn't have qualified for Capcom Cup. I wouldn't have done good at Capcom Cup. I would have, dude, I don't know what I would have done if I had nothing to fall back on, because it's crazy, dude. It's a crazy world out there, man. My problem is that I trust people too easily. So I trust somebody when they say, yeah, we're interested in picking you up. And then they end up stabbing me, you know, and I'm just like, okay, you know, what did I do wrong? I guess nothing. All right, then, you know, this is why when we're talking about like top players don't say shit either, is because they're sponsored too. They can't talk about none of this. You know, I cannot go into detail with you about all of the, if I went into detail about all of the things that I've gone through with sponsors, you would literally lose your mind. You would lose your mind just hearing some of the shit that I've been through. So while I'm smiling and taking these photos and all this shit, it ain't like that, bro. There's another dark side that we got to deal with as well, you know? And people don't seem to understand that. You know how you said you were doing music and you like to sing and whatnot. I got very involved with music too on the side. I really, really started getting into like writing down lyrics and just rapping and all of that, and putting my time into that, and art. Just a lot of philosophy, listening to a lot of lectures. I'm trying to put my time into so many different things to grow as a human being, because I'm tired of getting shut down as a player, you know?
You know, now I was going to say, you know, given how like you're a big advocate for like reading and reflection and personal growth, like, man, how do you find the time, and how do you just keep
Well, here's the thing. You just keep doing it, right? But it's very ignorant of me to assume that everybody has the amount of time that I have, because you just said that you work 60 to 70 hours a week almost. And I could find that it would be so difficult for you to just like, you know, probably go home and just, first of all, not even want to sleep, you know, like anything else that I want to do. I just want to sleep, you know, but because I've had the time, because I've been a player and I don't have a real job, I've been able to invest it into other things that I like, right? But I think maybe if you have that full-time job, which I'm looking for, you know, if you really want something, I think you could still make your dreams come true and invest time into learning, because, you know, you're working maybe 8 hours or 9 hours in the day, 10 hours of the day. Let's just say 10 hours of the day. You still have 14 more hours. You could, if you're a go-getter, if you're about your money, if you're about the hustle, the struggle, then you're going to make it happen. You know, you're going to make your dreams come true. And that's just the reality of it. You know, I'm a big fan of Nipsey Hussle, and he talks a lot about like hustling and motivating and whatnot. And I love that, you know, it's one of the things that I try to live my life by now, because I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of making excuses for myself.
Well, I mean, if you ever do come out here to Hawaii, if you ever come to live, I got you on if you're interested in going into IT, because we're hiring at my company.
I'm flying out tomorrow.
I mean, you know, if 65 to 70K a year sounds good to you,
hey, it's better than fucking dealing with online Mikas and not making anything.
I feel you on
You feel
that,
me?
man.
You feel me? You just got to keep it real, man. You just got to keep it real with these people, because and you know the intention of how I'm saying it. It might sound negative or rude, but it's like I'm trying to look out for you so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. You know, I don't want the listeners who are dreaming about this shit to just like be so caught up in it. You know?
Yeah.
Don't be so caught up in it. If you're not a prodigy or something like that, don't be caught up in it. Find time for other things as well.
Yeah, definitely. You only got one life, people.
Yeah.
You only got one life.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess like one of my last questions to you, I mean, to me, it's like whatever you prefer to play with, but people want to know. Pad or stick?
Five stick. You want to, I don't know. I love the sound of the buttons. I think that it just gives me more of an authentic fighting game experience, like just playing a fighting game on a fight stick. It looks cooler, you know, and when you go to not just an arcade, but let's say you're at a bar and you're, you know, I know how to play that. You know? It's cool every time like I'm at a bar or something like that and like we're drinking and having a good time, you know, that we'll find like the arcade machine and it has like an old Street Fighter game on it, or you know, Marvel vs. Capcom. They're like, "Oh, Chris, you play that?" You know, like, so it's cool. Like, how do you hold it? You know.
Yo, man, we got to get you out here. We've got to get you out.
I hopefully, man, one day, bro, one day.
But I lied. I have one last question. Question.
Yeah.
Fun?
What? Say that again.
Did you have fun?
Bro, what do you mean? What kind of? I'm offended that you asked me. I had a great time, man. Thank you very much. I hope that before we end it, can you give me like maybe like quick what is it called, fire round shot like questions, just so I could answer very quickly if people that ask you that didn't get a chance?
Sure. Let me go ahead and find them. Okay, there's one question from Zach asking, when are we gonna have you out here in our Hawaii scene?
As soon as possible. As soon as possible. If I can financially afford it, as soon as possible. I can promise that. And now that you offered me a place to stay, I'm chilling for at least a week, bro. I'm sorry. You made the offer. I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Hey, man, just it's barely ever used, so don't even worry about it.
Let's get it. Next question.
All right, so next question is Smash Bros. Ultimate. How are
Godlike
you
game. Godlike game. Godlike game. Godlike game. Next question.
What are some podcasts that you enjoy listening to, and what inspired you to become a podcaster?
I like listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. That's probably my favorite one at the moment. I like Coast to Coast, and those are like the pretty much two podcasts that I listen to. There's this one that I hadn't heard of before, but I'm going to listen to now. It's called the Kasanova podcast. So I'm going to listen to that. I actually listen to I listen to the Gauntlet as well, so that way I could hear how I sound when I speak.
I do the same thing with my own podcast.
Yeah. So by the way, your shirt is godlike.
Oh, thank you.
Literally tied as my favorite Marvel superhero, Spider-Man and the Punisher. But so the Gauntlet, I listened to that as well, so I could, you know, hopefully learn how to speak better. Because I'm very judgmental on myself, and if I say like too many times, I'll catch it in it, and I'll hate it.
Man, don't even worry about it. I'm more self-conscious. English isn't even my first language. Let's see. Next question is.
What inspired me to have a podcast was a lot of people told me I need to do radio. I need to do something, and Brent came to me with the idea, like, why don't we just do it? Let's just talk about our experiences in Street Fighter. I'm sure a lot of people have questions to ask you, and we could just express ourselves. And we just made a group out of it.
Okay. Next question. I don't know if we want to touch on that one.
Maybe I can touch on it very quickly. I'm trying to answer it as fast as possible.
Okay. So the whole Sonic Fox, his award speech. Oh
man, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. I don't know, man.
We can skip that one.
The kid's 18 years old. He's living his best life. That's all I got to say about that. I can't hate on him. Let him. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. He wants to say whatever he wants to say. He got there in the first place. I got no. Go ahead. You say whatever you want to say, man. And the beauty about it is that I might not agree with everything that you're saying, but I can't hate on you for it. You deserve to be on that stage in the first place. So you say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Exactly. That was his moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is: How do Americans overtake the competitive edge over other places?
They can't. It's geographically impossible. It's impossible to be better than Japan.
And then
unless there's a league where, like, a house where every single top player comes and we stay together and we make a lot of money doing it. It's impossible. Japan has, Gachikun said that they had 90 to 95% of the top players of Japan live in Tokyo. I'm sorry. That's just over. I'm not expecting to do better than you. You have the best practice. You have the best online. You have the smallest circle. Tokyo is literally size of California. Imagine if every top player in America lived in California. Now we could compete with Japan.
Hey, I can argue.
And not just in California, in a 30-minute radius within each other. Sorry, a 30-minute radius. Everybody lived in SoCal. It's done.
Another question is: when are we gonna see a collaboration between you and LTG?
Soon. I'm talking to him about that, actually. Very soon. We've been trying to come up with some ideas and stuff. So yeah, there's gonna be some videos and shit like that very soon.
Yeah. And the last question I have that I'm gonna select is it seems that FGC Twitter and Facebook is incredibly toxic.
Yep.
With how most of these people talk, it just seems like they don't enjoy any game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this a thing? I feel like we covered this.
To a certain, I mean, like, I don't know. I just think that, well, I'll just attack the fact that it's toxic. The whole community is toxic now. I don't like the community anymore. A lot of people that I thought were my friends turned out to stab me in the back for, like, money, for clout, for things like that. So I really don't know how to answer that. The community is toxic now. It used to be real. It used to be filled with a lot of good people. And now that number has dwindled down to a very small number. And yeah, I don't like it anymore.
Oh, you got one last question. You'll actually like this one.
Yeah.
What makes you a fan of Jordan Peterson, and what should we all learn from him?
Did I talk about this on the show? Did I mention Jordan Peterson on the show? I think so, right?
I feel like we did, yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly, the main thing that I like about Jordan Peterson is that he expresses thoughts that are against social norms, and he's not afraid to speak the truth. That's what it is that he's not afraid to speak the truth. And he doesn't care if he offends you, because he knows that what he's saying is not offensive. He's not spewing quote unquote hate speech. It's just a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm not telling anybody to hurt with me. If my message is to love and to not be offended, and you want to take that as me telling you to, as me like offending you, then that's your problem. And that's what I like about Jordan Peterson. He tells the truth. His intent is clear on what he is trying to spread with his message. People just, oops, my apologies.
No,
I don't know what just happened right there. People just, people are people. What can you do about it? So yeah, I like that he sticks with himself. He's true to himself, and I love that. And I aspire to be like that.
All right, man. And and that's one of the things, and I know this is going off topic, but that's one of the things I really respect about Jordan Peterson. I actually got to meet him when he came out here back in November.
That's dope, dude. I'm jealous. I hate you.
Yo, he's so down to earth, and I feel like this current the society with the whole narrative of everything is offensive. Everyone's the SJW. Everyone's this. Everyone's that, and it's like, yo, stop being so fucking sensitive, people.
That's what I told you, bro. It's full of pussies.
It's too much, man.
And
Like
watch, I'm going to be called sexist for saying that, which is crazy. I mean, I can't deal with it anymore. You know, I cannot deal with it. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm just tired of it because I'm just tired of it. I'm not going to hold my tongue anymore. You know, you can choose not to listen to me. That's
exactly.
it. You could choose not to listen to me, but don't tell me I'm something that I'm not, and don't force me to be something that I'm not.
Dude, I don't know if you've been called, like I've been called alt-right because I look at situation and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I don't agree with that. Oh, you're alt-right.
You're alt-right. You're sexist. You're misogynistic. Male. You're part of the male patriarchy. You're this. You're that. You're transphobic. You're all, bro.
All right. So, and Chris, where can people find you?
People can find me at Chris_Tatarian on Twitter, on Twitch, Chris_Tatarian on Instagram, Chris_Tatarian. You can, that's pretty much what I'm mostly active on, and that's where you can find me.
All right, cool. And people, thank you guys.
You can find me on the Gauntlet as well. If I can, just give a quick shout out to my podcast. If you guys are you want to learn more about Street Fighter, just fighting game mentality, top player mentality, things that you could learn, all types of fighting game related questions that you guys have. If you want to learn more about myself, more about Brent, more about my buddy Elvis, and the things that we go through, and we go through a lot of crazy shit as well, and we're very open with our minds, with how we express ourselves, just the way that Mekel and I were today. Go ahead, listen to the Gauntlet. You can follow our Twitter at Gauntlet Cast. And we post our weekly episodes on our Twitter, so that would be the best spot to follow us at Gauntlet Cast. And we always post the link to our SoundCloud where you can listen to the episode for free. Any support would be appreciated. And thank you guys for that. Want to take the time to thank Mekel one more time for having me on your podcast. And I had a really, really good time, man. I had a better time than I thought that I was going to have. And that's just truth right there. Because I was telling you, I was kind of low-key getting it. But I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I got to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for the hospitality on your podcast and just inviting me over to Hawaii, to the Hawaiian FGC, to the Hawaiian listeners. I hope that I can make it out very, very soon to Hawaii. I expect nothing but good times. Even if there's some shitty shit happens, I'm going to take that as one of the best memories of my life because I was in Hawaii and spending it with you guys. I know the hospitality will probably be like nothing that I've experienced, or probably like everything that I've experienced every time that I travel. And because if you find some real human beings, they all act the same way towards you. I hope to meet you guys all one day. And until then, thank you very much for your time.
All right. And people, thank you for watching this episode. You'll be able to catch it later on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova. You'll also be able to catch it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts. We're coming soon to iHeartRadio, just waiting for it to get cleared. And we will soon, starting next month, which is probably a couple days from now, in January, we will be on Sirius FM. So we signed a contract. We're trying to get out there. So this would not have been possible without you people out here. Thank you for making the Kasanova podcast the #1 podcast in the state of Hawaii. Chris, thank you so much, man. It is such an honor having you on the show.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year's to all of you, and God bless. You guys have a good day.
All right. Did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova Podcast? Well, I hope you did. And if you did, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let us know what we can improve upon, what you liked, what you didn't like, and all that good stuff. And just make sure you always have a good time. That being said, this is your boy Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out, and I'll catch you on the next episode.